What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Forgot my hat today, and still getting my drink ready here. Hope you all have had a good week. It's been quite an intense week. Quite what I would consider a shitty week in the States, where I'm from, but where I don't live. I live in Canada. Canada's pretty peaceful right now, but with everything that's going on in the U.S., it's not peaceful. Definitely been taking its toll on a lot of folks. So here we are. I know most of you are probably elsewhere in the world, so let me know if you're watching, where you are tuning in from, and if you're enjoying any particularly interesting beverage today. What are we going to do this week? So last week we worked on Twitter, and we got to a really good spot in terms of logging in and logging out. Let's just do a quick recap. Here's my Android device, and this is the Visor app that I've got, so I can actually mess around with my Android device here by using it on my computer, but it is actually just this phone here. I believe it's a Galaxy S7. Gopi's back. Hey, Gopi from the UK. Welcome. So last week we worked on Twitter. I think we're going to do some more work on Twitter today. Oh, I need to make this text a lot bigger. There we go. That looks reasonable. Yeah, so last week we were able to code up a login and log out flow on Twitter. So I'll show where we're at with that. And this week, I think it'd be fun to try and do a little bit more. I'm not quite sure what else we can do in the time that we have today, but it would be nice to have more than one test for this app. I use it a lot, so it'd be fun to figure that out. So let's run what we've got at the moment. Of course, I have my Appium server running. I'm running Appium 2.0. This is kind of a very early development version of Appium 2. I can show you a little bit. When you run Appium 2.0 and you start it up, what you get that's a little different is you actually get a list of the available drivers that you have installed, and I can run a specific command to tell me which drivers I have installed versus which are available but not installed. So I have XUI test driver, Safari driver, fake driver, and UI Automator 2 driver installed, but the rest I don't. So there's a bunch of commands we can run to install or uninstall these drivers so that we don't have to get all of them just because we're using Appium. So just a little preview of what I've been working on there. Start up the Appium server again, and we are using the UI Automator 2 driver since we're running tests on Android. So let's give this a go. Something broke in between now and the last time we ran this. We were waiting for the login button to work. I wonder, I believe that my Twitter app was updated in the background since last week, so that could be the cause of the issue. Let's see. Make sure I have. Yeah, we're waiting for the login button on the Twitter login page. Or is it the splash page? I think it's the splash page. Yep, waiting for the login button. And then we were supposed to tap it at a certain spot. So we decided that it has an ID of detail text, but maybe that changed. Because I'm just using the version of Twitter that is installed on my phone. I didn't have an APK that I can use to uninstall and reinstall, so I'm just using the version that's installed, which means that I think I have my phone set to auto update everything, so it could have been updated. Let's run UI Automator Viewer, because that's a quick and easy way to see if this Android ID is still the same. Here is UI Automator Viewer. I'll take a little snapshot. Okay. It does have an ID of detail_text. And we are in the right package, so what else could it be? Let's close this out. We can go take a look at the Appium logs. Just get a bunch of 404s, meaning no such element errors. That's what we expect. Make sure we're looking for the right thing. Yeah, strategy ID. Selector is called detail_text. That looks right. Maybe it's just an issue with things not waiting long enough. Let's just try and run it again. See what happens. Okay, that worked. Not sure what was going on that time. So anyway, here's our little login flow. We say that it's allowed to collect different settings. Then we go into the various account menus, scroll down, and log out. Cool. So let's figure out what we want to do this time around. Guess I have to log in order to make that happen. I guess I can have Appium do that for me. If I go to my Twitter test, and if I just do all the login stuff, but don't actually log out, that's probably faster than me actually trying to find my random password that I generated and type it in. Great, I am now logged in. So here's my timeline. What should we do? I guess one thing we can do is search for somebody to follow. We could try creating a follow and unfollow. That's probably a good thing to do. So if we search, go to this search tab, and could search for my main account. Wow, there's another JLipps out there. Good thing I call myself Jonathan. We want to tap on that. And then there's a follow button here, which we can click. And then we can stop following, something like that. That's pretty good flow. So let's roll up. Oh, I should have launched this before. I always forget. Let's launch Appium desktop so that we can start to identify some locators to get this flow working. We can actually start just kind of stubbing things out in page objects. We are going to be creating something called a search page. I'm just going to copy an existing page for Twitter. Call this search page.py. And I'll change the class name. And we don't know what we're gonna do on here yet. So I guess we will search, right? So call it search. And this is going to take a string, a search term. And I realized that first we need to be able to get to the search page. So that's something we can do from the home page, right? We can navigate to the search page. So we'll need to figure out how to do that. And it will hopefully just look like waiting for something, like tapping on the search icon. Okay, here's our search page. We want to make sure to add it to our list of page objects. Pages.twitter.search page, import Twitter search page, like that. Now we can actually use that from our home page here. So this can return a Twitter search page. And we'll return Twitter search page dot instance and pass it our driver object. So that will be easy to do there. Now go back to search page. We know we can search. I guess we haven't created our search icon yet. We don't know what kind of locator it will be. So put a little to do there. Is Appium desktop loaded? Oops, there's a new version. I should have downloaded that. Is anyone else from Gopi joining us on the stream today? If so, let me know, and let me know where you're hanging out from and how your week's been, if you have any thoughts. Pretty sure I have saved capability set for Twitter. Do I? Maybe I didn't save it from last time. Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and look at our capabilities. That would be in conf.test.py. So here's my capabilities that I'm using. So I go over here to Appium desktop. We've got platform name. And that is Android. We've got device name. And I'm also just calling that Android because I'm just using the only connected device. And we got app package, which is com.twitter.android. And app activity, which is called start activity. should be able to just put the dot in front of it and have it launch the right thing. And we don't need to worry about new command timeout because Appium Desktop already puts an infinite new command timeout, but we do need to worry about the automation name, which we set to UI Automator 2. I'm going to save these as Twitter on Android. And we've got the session starting up here, as we can see. Right, so we're doing a manual session, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get here and refresh. And I'll make desktop bigger, see if we can find this search icon. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Looks like it potentially does have a content description on it, or at least its parent does. If I kind of scroll through here, this is all stuff on top. Here is our Explore tab. I guess Twitter calls this Explore and not Search. So there's two things. There's the view underneath, and then there's the view on top, which has a content description and an accessibility ID. I'm gonna just hope that we can actually find and tap that by its accessibility ID called Explore. Appium Desktop is telling me that interactions aren't available for this element. That's not positive, but sometimes it gets a little stale. So I'm gonna refresh and try again. Yeah, so that has an accessibility ID of Explore, which if we tap, that does the trick. So hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Good thing we're not in the same room. Okay. So if I go to the home page, this is where we find the search icon, and what we want is mobile by .accessibility ID, and it's called Explore. So that should get us to the search page. Now on the search page itself, we want to perform a search. So let's see if we find the search box. This has an accessibility ID as well. It's called Search Twitter. I like that. So we can say search box equals mobile by .accessibility ID. We like to use single quotes. Oops. Search Twitter. So here we're just going to wait for our search box and send keys, and we're gonna put term in there. So what happens if we do that? Put in my account name. Looks like it might have refreshed, so let me do a little. Refresh myself, make sure it's not stale. Oh my, an element? So the element is in invalid state. We might need to click it first, so let's try that. Yep. We do need to click it first. So now we have this edit text, which does have an accessibility of search. Okay. So really, we don't really have the same box in both cases. We've got this kind of like search. It's really more like a search. It's really more like a button. Enable search button, call it like that. And then our search box itself is going to be have an accessibility ID of search. So the first thing we want to do is get the enable search button and click that mess, and then we send keys to the search box. Oh, forgetting my Python. Need to prefix that with self. Awesome. So let's try and send some keys into that thing, see if that works. That does work. Great. Of course, we find my little bot here too. So now what we want to do is we want to find a particular user that we're interested in. Might need to refresh here. Ooh. What is going on with this? We're not really able to see a lot of good stuff at the moment. So we've got this image view. None of this stuff looks like what I care about. We've got all these view groups. Playable. What's inside this linear layout here? This is all finding stuff that looks like it's behind this. It's like this is a little modal. Yeah, it's finding the stuff that's behind this at the moment. So I'm just gonna see. Maybe this is a text element that I can try and find. So if I search for XPath, if I just search for something whose text equals to at JLipps, what does that do? We did find an element. So it's there, it's just Appium Desktop is having trouble knowing what is on top of what, because this is some kind of modal design. So if I actually tap this, that appears to have worked. So basically what we want to do is, I guess one question is whether we want our search action here to actually tap on the thing for us. Probably. I mean, that's the point of a search. So we have our search term, and then we have the thing we want to find. So we have our search term, we have our find term. So then what we're going to want to do here is wait for our little text locator. And this is where we're going to put our find term. And click on that. And that will take us to the place that we want to go. And this could take us to a lot of different pages. I guess we could make this a little more specific. We could say we want to search for user, and then we can just call this username that we want to search for. Then we don't need two variables because we can just search for the username here, and then find username with the at in front of it via its text XPath and click on that. So I think that's a good thing to do. And then we know that this will get us to a profile page. So now we need to create a profile page object. We'll call this profile page. And what do we do on here? I guess we can follow, right? Can follow the user. And we'll need some kind of follow button. Don't know what it'll be yet. And we're gonna click that. And then, unfortunately, this is, I guess it will be, idempotent because probably the name will change. So we'll want also an unfollow button. And probably we can make a verification of here by clicking the follow button and then waiting for the unfollow button to show up and then do the reverse over here. Because once we unfollow, then the follow button shows up and that will prove that we've actually been successful. And of course this is has the type of profile page. Great. So let's have Appium Desktop check this out and see if we can figure out what this element is. It is unfortunately behind a bunch of stuff. So there's my pinned tweet. Header container. This is the toolbar. That's not what we want. That's my tabs. Doesn't look like there's a whole, oh yeah, what's in here? This looks promising. Button bar, that sounds like what we want. And, oh, nice. We've got a button that has an accessibility ID on it with some text. And this accessibility ID says follow username period follow period. So let's try and just use that. So we'll create a little helper method called get follow button. And it takes a user's name, I guess. And it returns a locator. So we're going to return mobilebuy.accessibilityID, and the accessibility ID is going to look like follow username follow, apparently. That's what it looks like. So our follow method is going to need to take a username. So apparently we need to know that. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we can get it somehow from the information here. That would be clutch. Ah, yeah, we can. There's something that has an ID of name. So let's get the text from that instead. Yeah, it's just called name. So we'll say username equals wait for the self.name, and we get the text attribute of that. So to create our follow button, we pass in the username and we click. Great. So now if we actually follow, how does this change within Appium Desktop? It now says following. Okay, so yeah, this text changes a little bit. It says following JLipps unfollow, although it has an ID too, so maybe we don't need to go through all this mess of creating an accessibility ID for ourselves that's dynamic. It's probably more straightforward. Let's just make sure that there was an ID on it. Yeah, it's just called button bar follow. I think that's just a lot more straightforward. So we don't need to do any of this mess here. So yeah, button bar follow, and then the unfollow is just button bar unfollow. Don't need this. Great, so that should be pretty simple, but unfollowing, now we need to click this alert. What was another page that we had to put an alert on? I think the home page, maybe. Button 1 and button 2. Is that what we've got it here as well? It's probably button 1, maybe. Yeah, it's called button 1. So let's put that on our search page as well. No, we're on the profile page. What am I thinking? There we go. Great. So that's where we get to from the profile page. Oops, didn't want to delete that. So now we can put this in our, oops. It's called profile page. And it's from profile page, the file. Now we can import it in our search page and say that this is what search for user returns. And what else can we do from our profile page? We can go back, right? So that's probably what we'll want to do, or maybe yeah, we'll want to probably go back to our little home page. So let's see what we can do there. So what was up in our, let's see. This is called the action bar. Probably we can just run driver.back Let's just see if that works. Yeah, that got us back to the search. Yep, that takes us back to the search page, and then from the search page we can obviously go to the home page. And that has an accessibility ID of home tab, so I'm going to put that back. Oh, I'm on the search page. Call it nav to home. And what should we call? We were saying that, oh right, home tab would be mobile by accessibility, and it was called home tab. Yeah, home tab like that. And it's gonna return a home page. But we can't import it because that would cause a circular import. But we could import it here. From pages, import page. And then we can return something like that. And there's a way in Python to just import something if we're in typing mode. I don't remember offhand how to do that. If I go to Google and sort of Python conditional import for typing. Right, from typing import type checking. Right. And if we're type checking, then pages import Twitter homepage. There we go. That fixes our types. Great. Now I think we could start trying to turn this into a little bit of a test. So if we go back to test_Twitter, let's say def test follow. Make our Twitter driver this way. And since I'm planning on just, I really should make this more composable, but I'm just going to reuse the stuff from last week to log in and log out before and after. So from the home page, we're now going to nav to the search page instead of signing out. And this is going to give us a search page, and on the search page we're going to search for user JLipps, and that will give us a profile page, and on the profile page we're going to follow, and then we're going to unfollow, and then we're going to go back to the search page. And then we're going to nav back to the home page. Once we're on the home page, we'll log out and verify that everything logged out. So we're essentially using what we wrote last week as a bit of a sandwich bun for the follow and unfollow stuff. So we'll see if this all works. Now I'm going to manually log out here. Yeah, settings and privacy, account, log out like that. Okay, so now I want to run just one. Okay, so the pattern for running just one test is file, class, and then test, and then the name of the test method itself. So let's see how we did there. Search. Uh-oh. Looks like we're not finding that search box. What happened? We couldn't find the enable search button. That's on the search page, right? I thought this had an accessibility ID of search Twitter. So let's load up our Appium desktop session again and see if we were, I guess, wrong about that. So we were here. And this is the box. You know what? It does not have an accessibility ID like I thought. It had text, but you know what? It has an ID on it called query view. So maybe I just missed this before. Called query view. Let's see if tapping on that does what we expect. Yeah, so I think I might have just assumed that it had an accessibility ID potentially, because this is actually what we want. So now I'm just gonna go log myself out, get back to a clean slate here, and then run this test again. Okay. Oh, great. We got that box. Search for JLipps. Oh. Oops. None type has no attribute follow. Did we do something wrong on the profile page? Did we not maybe return the profile page from the search page? Ah, that is indeed what we didn't do. So we want to return profile page instance self.driver. That should actually get us to the profile page. So I'm just gonna delete on my state here. Try that again. So far, things are working. Oh no. Missing one required positional argument, username. Maybe we don't actually need that anymore, do we? Right. We're not actually using this anymore. Would have thought I would have gotten a lint error for that. So great. Give it another go. Like, play some music while we're waiting. Sweet. Follow. And uh-oh, now we're not able to find that unfollow button, I guess. I thought it was called button bar unfollow. Make sure that isn't a timeout. Yeah, we can't find the unfollow button. So let's just throw up throw up UI Automator Viewer again and see if there is an ID on that or not. Right. So this is called button bar follow. Oh, it's called following, not unfollow. I guess my brain might just made that up or something. So try this again. I have a feeling like it might work this time. Oh, shoot. I forgot to manually unfollow, so this is going to break. Well, maybe I can just sneak in and before the 10-second timeout. Yeah, got it. Nice. There we go. Did I see that somebody was actually following me? Or was that someone that I'm following? Did it actually unfollow it correctly? I'm a little confused. Hopefully we're in a good state. I just want to run it again and see if it can go from start to finish without my intervention, because I forgot to unfollow myself to reset state earlier. But I think it's now all reset. Let's see if it can just go on its own. Sweet. Yeah, and we verified that follow button came back. No one I'm following there in that list. Okay. We did it. Full end-to-end flow of login. Now let's just read through our test code. You can see what we did here. We go to our splash page. We navigate to the login page. We log in. We allow the various permissions that are required. We go to the search page. We search for a particular user. We follow that user. We unfollow that user. We go back to the search page. We go back to the home page, and then we log out and verify that we ended up back at the splash page. So this is a lot of steps. I'm not saying that it would be wise to have this many steps in an actual test. Obviously, we would find ways to make state shortcuts, but and even if we didn't do that, we would find ways to maybe make some of this stuff a little bit more reusable. For example, I mean, we could combine a bunch of these essentially login steps into one page object method that had some defaults, like about whether we wanted to allow this data collection or not. But that's it. So this week is relatively straightforward. I don't know, maybe next time we could actually try and do a little bit of work with the timeline, maybe try and retweet something or favorite something. But as it is, I think this is pretty useful, and we're coming up to the hour mark, so I don't want to try and start a new project, which will inevitably take us way too long, and I know it's quite late for a lot of you who are watching from time zones that are quite distant from my own. So why don't we call it quits here? Thank you for joining, and again, always let me know through a comment or through an Appium Pro contact form or something like that what you think about these. If you have any requests for future episodes of Automation Happy Hour, I'm also happy to consider those. So thanks to everyone who's watching in real time or watching one of the videos after the fact. And yeah, check out Appium Pro, the newsletter. And check out Headspin University as well. I think that's about it right now. Go do some good this weekend. The world needs it. All right. Peace.